Hello, my friends. So, for this reading, we have a message from the Valkyrie. I have not read the description yet, and I am not, honestly, I've owned this Oracle deck since the 90s, but I almost never used it until recently, and I'm still not using it very often. So, I don't know what it says on the back, other than Valkyrie, and I don't know what the message is for you. But I wanted to start off with identifying whether or not this reading is for you, and then we'll worry about what the message is. So, the first cards out are the Dragonfly and the Gazelle from the Animal Spirit deck. So, Dragonfly. That's usually a card of something coming to light or transformation. Okay. Master of Light, Illusion, and the Mind. The dragonfly is an ancient and ethereal creature that awakens a sense of wonder and awe. The dragonfly is a symbol of the mind, as it is always moving, shifting, shimmering, and changing. When the dragonfly card appears, it's worth considering the quality of your mind and perception. Are they restless or still, dreamlike or crystal clear? The situation at hand may be different than it appears at first glance. The dragonfly reminds us to calm the mind so the light of wisdom can shine through. When in balance, sees clearly, joyful, magical. When out of balance, can't concentrate, a busy mind. To bring into balance, focus on the breath. All right. So perhaps you're feeling very unsettled lately. Let's see what the gazelle has to say to you. I believe the gazelle is more about feminine energy, but let's see. Heightened awareness and ability, vulnerability. The gazelle represents supreme grace. With every move, this awe-inspiring beauty emits sophistication and elegance. Gazelle personalities are often hyper-aware of their surroundings, bordering on hypervigilant, and this can inhibit them from enjoying the beauty they've spent so much effort cultivating. No more worrying about all those predators out there in the wild. When this card appears, it's time to get back to the present moment. Sit down, find your breath, and acknowledge the bounty that surrounds you. Let it nourish your gentle spirit. Okay, so it sounds like you are feeling very unsettled and vulnerable. All right. When in balance, graceful, perceptive, and artistic. When out of balance, food allergies, insomnia, racing mind. To bring into balance, yin yoga, a cozy home, good food. So definitely some taking care of yourself is being called for here. You seem to be on high alert and really unsettled and uneasy. All right, let's see what the Jungian Tarot has to say to you. We're going to start with the Moon card right here. Archetype of the Deadly Mother. Illusion, deception, dark dreams, and changing moods. A test of the hero. Maternal instinct, menstruation, childbirth. The home, the house, travel and change, rhythm. Fantastic visions welling up in the imagination, blind terror. All right, so once again, your mind is running away with you. So most of the time, the Moon card is a card that recommends looking within, and perhaps that's why you are having such a hard time with your mind lately. Some things are surfacing about yourself, probably, that you are not comfortable with. Probably shadow aspects of yourself, things that you never wanted to come to light. And here they are, knocking at your door. The only way to get through the shadow is to accept it and allow it to be. You can't deny it forever because that will just make it worse. The next card up is the Three of Wands. So typically that is a card of expansion and possibilities, creativity. Here, Neptune in Aries, fantasy and mystery. Hidden currents of controlling energy within the collective unconscious. Collective energy, not individual. Loss of individuality into something greater. Initiation, religions, mysticism, the occult. Well, that's interesting. All right, next up we have, this looks like a Page of Wands, maybe? Let's see. Yes, Page of Wands. The clever daughter appears to be an extrovert, is actually insecure and vulnerable. Vulnerable. Okay. Seeks social spotlight. Sounds a little insecure. Perhaps you're always seeking some sort of social validation. Always acts on impulse. Imaginative, witty, or irritating and immature. Clever, but not too intelligent. And finally, we have the Five of Pentacles. Let's see how this plays out. The Five of Pentacles typically refers to a lack mentality, scarcity mindset, feeling left out in the cold. But here we have something different. Mars in Capricorn, responsible authority. Ambitious person earns prominence through hard work and willingness to accept responsibilities. Wow. Smooth running business. Family comfortable. Assertiveness and impatience may bring conflict with coworkers. Resentments build if not smoothed out quickly, causing discharge from position or divorce, etc. So, willingness to accept responsibilities, that's generally a pretty big deal. But you have to really deal with some resentments here. So things at work sound like they're not too stable. Try not to be too impatient with your coworkers, or maybe you have been. It's too late. All right, so if this reading is for you, let's see what the Valkyrie has to say to you. The bird goddess is one of the most ancient goddesses, both a life-giving creator and a goddess of death and regeneration. The Valkyrie, a northern European goddess, is a representation of this goddess as death wielder. The bird guise of the Valkyrie is that of the raven, long associated with death and magic. The name Valkyrie means chosen of the slain. The face and form of the Valkyrie are the last thing a person sees before death. Valkyries are psychopomps who lead the soul to the afterworld. For ancient people, death was part of a cyclical process leading again to rebirth. Black was a positive color, a symbol of fertility and abundance. The Valkyrie represents that part of us that is unafraid of the dark places. She can lead us into and through them. She reminds us that seeds germinate in the darkness, that sometimes we need darkness in order to grow. Well, that's kind of a theme for you, isn't it? Wow. All right. Let's see what the tarot has to say to you. I'm choosing... Considering all the emphasis on darkness, I'm tempted to go with my Midnight Magic deck. It's a little large, though. All right, I'm going to go with this deck, which I have forgotten the name of. But many of the cards are at least darkish. So let's see what we got. It only counts if they're face up. Well, we've got 2 queens so far. 2 queens, 6 of pentacles, and the devil. Huh. Justice in reverse, which generally refers to a lack of accountability, an unwillingness to take on responsibility. Interesting considering the cards we've had so far in this reading. What else? Oh, So 2 of my cards just jumped ship. Let me see if I can get them. 7 of Wands. Perhaps feeling paranoid. I'll put that one in a crossing position. And all right, so the devil is in your first row, right in the middle. And 6 of Pentacles is in reverse. So there is a lack of reciprocity going on. And the devil, of course, represents bad habits, vices, addictions, illusions, and delusions. A belief in bonds or chains that can't be broken, that are just illusions. They're not real, they're delusions. They're simply things you choose to believe in and could change at any time. You also have a lack of self-mastery because, well, the devil is always a card of temptation rather than being responsible. You already have justice in reverse, so not taking responsibility. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Wands. This is my Queen of Wands card for this deck. 7 of Wands. In reverse. So you may be being paranoid, or you may be completely failing to recognize the need to protect yourself. Six of Swords and Ancestors are in crossing positions. So I'm going to go with a family situation. Ancestors, of course, referring to family. Generally referring to past family, but reinforcing the idea that the thing you may need to get away from is your family. Or maybe not get away so much as resolve, because this would be a card of karma. Hierophant in reverse, so lack of self-mastery, but a dedication to the status quo, even if it's not good for you. A negative mentor, somebody is misleading you. And a lack of meditation, so lack of self-knowledge, a lack of stillness, an overly busy mind, which we got already. So everything is confirming what we've already gotten. The last thing here is the World, and it's in the upright. So things want to change. This is a major arcana card, so it is a card of the divine. And to the extent that you believe in the divine, or you may come to believe in the divine. You're not in control of the situation. I don't know. Okay, Queen of Pentacles and Queen of Wands, they're both in the upright. So I don't know who these people are, but the Queen of Pentacles is on one side of justice, and the Queen of Wands is on the other side of justice. So you may be one of these people, and a person that is of interest to you is probably the other one. The Queen of Pentacles is someone who is good at business, who is financially established and nurturing, confident, a good business person. Again, there's no gender in tarot. Doesn't really matter what the name, actually doesn't matter at all what the name is or what apparent gender is pictured on the card. Oh, The Queen of Swords just came out. Okay. And then on the other side, so I will mention this, just the Queen of Wands card that came with this deck is really, really awful and inappropriate. So I ditched it. And this card is, there were 3 cards that came with this deck that didn't belong to any suit. They weren't major arcana, they're just unique to this deck. So I substituted this one for the Queen of Wands because the Queen of Wands represents the watery aspects of fire. And this is a very fiery looking jellyfish in the water, of course. But it may be worth noting that the name of the card is protection. So this Queen of Wands may be more protective than most. Or maybe more in need of protection. You'll have to interpret that one yourself, which way you go. And finally, this one snuck out. I wasn't expecting any more. That was very sneaky. Okay, I wasn't expecting the Queen of Swords either. So lots of feminine energy coming out in this reading. I mean, we had the Valkyrie just started it all off with. Now we have the Queen of Swords and the Ace of Wands. It may be that you are feminine, working on the feminine aspects of your personality, or you could be masculine and working on the feminine aspects of your personality. In which case, the fact that you have 3 queens coming out is a really good thing because you're making a lot of progress. We don't have the Queen of Cups, so you have yet to master or deal with your emotional emotionality. I'm not sure that's a word, but that's a difficult suit to deal with, going through the emotions. But the Ace of Wands symbolizes a new beginning, and this indicates a search for truth. The Queen of Swords is a truth seeker and a truth speaker. Not necessarily the most gentle of people, but they can't be fooled. They don't play games. And they will cut right through all the nonsense. Whereas the Queen of Wands is very much someone who is used to being in the limelight, the life of the party, so they're charismatic, attractive, fun-loving, warm, of course, passionate, but having them balanced out by the Queen of Pentacles is a really good thing, if these are all referring to the same person. And we already talked about what the Queen of Pentacles represents. But why is Justice here in the reverse? Why is Justice in the reverse? Six of Swords is a desire to get away from a situation, to move into calmer waters. This came out Seven of Cups in the crossing position. So there's been some confusion, maybe a lot of confusion. But now there's progress. Oh, the World card hinted at that too. The Chariot, of course, is rapid progress. So, but now we have the Fool in reverse. So a failure to take the leap of faith. A lot of fear. Perhaps distracting yourself with partying and friends. Or listening to what friends have to say, instead of just doing what you know you need to do. Now we have a King of Pentacles. It's almost in the reverse. So King of Pentacles would obviously be the counterpart of the Queen of Pentacles, the first queen out. What about this King of Pentacles? What is this King of Pentacles? Justice. Okay, so now Justice has come out again. So, is this King of Pentacles someone who needs to bring justice? Someone who is prepared to bring justice? Because it was in reverse before. Perhaps you are moving towards becoming the King of Pentacles. Or you believe that you must be the King of Pentacles before you can bring justice. You may be right, I don't know. But there is the need for a sacrifice. And it may be your ego. Given how often maybe your ego, it may be something to do with your family. Considering you had this Six of Swords in connection with your family, you have to move away from something in regard to them. It could just be a behavior pattern, but depending on how your family culture works, that could have some very big impacts on your relationships. Yeah, you're afraid of being left out in the cold. Knight of Swords. This Knight of Swords looks particularly fierce. That's interesting. Definitely ready to go charging ahead. And here we have the Hierophant in the upright. Perhaps you've managed to find yourself a mentor, a guide, somebody who actually knows and is giving you good advice, as opposed to these friends that were probably not giving you good advice. What about this Hierophant? Oh. They may be an emperor. That would be good. If you're getting advice from somebody who's actually disciplined and well-balanced and hones their skills as leads by example rather than force or tyranny. Eight of Swords. Oh, wow. So changing your mindset, letting go of your false beliefs, those false bindings that you believe in. That's what the Eight of Swords is. It's all mental imprisonment by ideas, beliefs, thinking things are unchangeable when really it's just a mindset. Although I'm not saying changing your mindset is easy, it's actually very difficult. In any case, we have to remember that the Valkyrie is also a death bringer. But the Valkyrie decides who gets to go to Valhalla and who will simply, I don't know if they just die or are left to be ghosts if you are not chosen by the Valkyrie. I'm trying to find the card now because I put it away. Sorry, just 1 second here. I'm almost at the end, so it has to be here, unless I manage to lose it. Ah, I put it somewhere else. All right. So, the Valkyrie represents that part of us that is unafraid of the dark places. She can lead us into and through them. She reminds us that seeds germinate in the darkness, that sometimes we need darkness in order to grow. So it seems to me you're going through a really tough time right now. You're facing some things that are very difficult, and perhaps you are finally learning to take accountability. So we did have, where did Justice go? There it is. So Justice went from the reverse to now it's in the upright. The Hierophant went from the reverse to being in the upright. It seems you are working on your divine masculine. At the very least, you have found someone who is a good mentor, who has a well-developed, healthy masculine aspect to their personality. Whether they are male or female is irrelevant, because we all have internal feminine and masculine aspects that must be balanced and made healthy. So, it looks like a time of darkness for you. So it won't be easy. Also, since the Valkyrie is a death goddess, there may be something that needs to die, which is consistent with the hanged panda, referring to a sacrifice, something that must be released, let go of. All right, well, I wish you luck on your journey. Remember that there is light at the end of the tunnel. See, we've got the full moon here. There's light. Just keep moving. And be patient and compassionate with yourself as you learn to accept your flaws. We all have them. I wish you all the best.